Selling at your local farmer's market can be a really fun way to earn some extra money, but there are some things that you need to know going into it. Hi, my name is Lana Green. This channel is for stay-at-home moms who are looking for flexible ways to earn and save money while still being present for your kids. So let's talk about farmers markets. So for years and years, I have participated in local farmers markets. And let me tell you, there have been highs and there have been a lot of lows. And so I just want to share with you my experience in this video. My market is totally different from your market. So what does well at mine may not do so well at yours. And what does horrible at mine may be great at yours. So just keep that in mind going forward in the video. Farmers markets can be a great way to earn some extra money on the weekends, but there are some things you should know before you get started. So in this video, I would like to share with you 6 things that I wish somebody had told me. All right, so number 1, the pay to play. There are a lot of fees associated with farmers markets. First, you have probably your booth fee. There are some free ones, especially if they're just starting to get up and running. They'll let people come for free until it kind of gets established, and then they'll start charging a booth fee. But generally, there is a fee involved with your booth space. So my market right now is $20 per market. It had been in the past. It would be like 10 for food vendors, 20 for craft people, and now I think it's just 20 across the board. Or they can do, the farmers can do a seasonal fee. But even past that, then you've got your tent, which you are definitely going to want a tent, especially if you're doing baked goods, because you've got your stuff in those bags, and as soon as the sun hits those bags, there's just going to be condensation forming, and that's not going to look appealing at all. So you're going to need a tent, and then you're going to need tables to set your stuff on, and then whatever decorations you're going to want to buy. If you want to get like one of those sandwich board signs or a chalkboard sign or something to set by your table to put prices on, or, little signs you're going to put around your table to put prices on, anything like that. So you're easily looking at like $500 just to start. Number 2, timing is everything. Check your calendar for local competing events. Maybe there's festivals going on in the area, something like that. This definitely affects the turnout at the market. This has definitely happened to us several times. We had no idea that there was a festival or some other event going on in town, the next town over, and we're sitting there like, why is no one at this market today? And somebody's like, oh, it's the whatever festival today. We're like, oh, great. It definitely affects the turnout at the market, just in my experience. However, I will say that our market and most markets have some very loyal customers. So they'll show up rain or shine, whatever's happening down the road, they're still coming to the market to support their local vendors. But other than that, if there's something going on in town, you'll probably notice a huge drop-off in attendance. Also, along the lines of timing, the opening Saturday is probably going to be amazing. There's been hype about it, and people are excited to get their fresh produce and to see what else is new at the market. And then during the season, it'll kind of drop off a little more each weekend, or at least that's been my experience. Number 3, you have to make connections. Those repeat customers, they are the bread and butter of your business. So you need to get to a point where you can take orders and make connections with people outside of the market. So I've done handmade items, and I've also done baked goods. And here I notice that the handmade stuff is more of like a one-off purchase for a lot of people. So even if you've got those regular customers coming through the market, they will come by your table and they may buy a couple of things one week, but then maybe for the rest of the season, they're coming by and be like, oh, I already bought something from her. But if you bring something that is not going to last, like baked goods, people are going to buy it, they're going to eat it. Hopefully they think it's great, but then if they want it again, then they have to come back and buy it from you again. So it's less of a one-off purchase, and you get more repeat customers that way. Number 4, focus on your strengths. Don't have squirrel brain. Now, this is extremely rich coming from me. No matter what I'm doing, I'm like, okay, well, next I want to try this. Well, let me try this. Ooh, maybe people would like this. Ooh, I saw this. I want to try this. I saw this video. I want to try this thing. Stop. People are telling you, based on what they spend money on, what they want. So pay attention to that and don't get sidetracked and try 10 million different things. Find your stride and mainly stick to it. And I'm not saying don't have fun. Like, I still like to try a new recipe every now and then. So this past fall season at my farmer's market, I took pumpkin bread, I took chocolate chip cookies, And that was it for most of the season. For this Christmas one, I did gingerbread houses, but other than that, all throughout the market, it was pumpkin bread and chocolate chip cookies, and we did very well. We sold out almost every Saturday because people knew if they wanted the chocolate chip cookies, they wanted the pumpkin bread, they could come to my table and they would find it. So pick one recipe that people love, that really stands out, that you are awesome at and you can make it in your sleep, or one item that you would really like to be known for, and focus on those and then add in little alternatives. Number 5. This is one that every time we left our farmer's market, my husband would get on to me about. And then I would think back and be like, gosh, I did not do that. Why didn't I do that? And that is to promote your social media. It doesn't cost anything for the customer to go and like your page. Most people will be excited to support you this way because it's easy, it doesn't cost them anything, but they're still helping you out. Number 6, social skills are required. You have to talk to people and you have to do it with a smile. You can't just sit back in your chair behind your table and expect people to want to come into your booth if you're not smiling. Now, not everyone that comes into your booth is going to want to have a conversation, and that's totally fine, but you need to initiate the conversation. Look at them while they're still a little bit of a ways off, give them a smile, maybe a little wave to draw them in and make them feel comfortable coming up to you, because if you're just sitting back in your chair on your phone or whatever, everybody's just going to walk by. Nobody wants to come into a booth that isn't welcoming. Now, this generally works. Just to smile at people, it will draw them in. I did have a man come into my booth one time and say, "Wow, you're smiling so much. You're so welcoming and inviting looking. I don't know why there aren't more people in your booth. And I just wanted to come tell you that and tell you to keep smiling." So people do notice. So you want to be smiling and you want to invite people in. But then past that, you can pretty much tell if somebody wants to continue the conversation or not. So we can go more into depth in some of these topics in future videos. You let me know what your experience has been, and maybe if there's something in here you're like, I'd like to know more about that, then let me know in the comments, and let's help each other along in our stay-at-home mom money-making ventures. I hope you'll like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.